In the next 30 minutes, you're going to learn how small businesses just like you are attracting better clients and raising their rates. They're doubling their prices, all without changing a single thing about what they offer. Really, what I'm going to be sharing with you are the dirty secrets behind gaining the market respect that you deserve. So this is what we're going to cover today. Why brand positioning is the missing growth lever within your business right now. Why most branding advice that you have received is absolute garbage and is spectacularly wrong. I'm going to show you how the Brand Lab system is going to work for you within your company and how positioning is going to unlock massive amounts of leverage, the leverage that you need in order to grow your business, the leverage that you need in order to get noticed by the people who are buying your services. I'm going to give you some real proof from founders just like you who have gone through the system, and then I'm going to share with you some next steps that you can take in order to grow. So if you're here and you've mastered your craft but not your message, if you're tired of being the best kept secret in the industry, if you're getting overlooked, or you're constantly seeing your customers going to your competitors that probably aren't as good as you, and you want to charge premium prices, but you also want the premium clients, and you're ready to invest in strategy and go away from the guesswork, like throw that out, then you're in the right place. This video is for you. You're going to get a lot out of this. However, look, if you're not yet clear on your offer, or if you think like branding is colors and fonts and vibes, then this video isn't for you. This is for serious people really focused on strategy and how they can build a strategy that's going to help them grow their business. So why should you listen to me? A little bit of a rap sheet on me here. 2 decades of building brands. 10 of those years have been spent as co-founder of Wit & Craft along with my partner, Lissa Engelman. We together have branded from positioning all the way through logos and identities, hundreds of companies of all various sizes, from super large corporations all the way down to the local nonprofit. We have experience there and we've had a lot of fun along the way. But we are now on a mission. We are on a very important mission to position 10,000 small businesses. And I want to tell you why. So on January 16th, 2024, this is a date that I am never going to forget. On this date, I had just gotten off of a Zoom, and it was that moment, and maybe you've been there before, that everything changed for me. It was that moment I had a realization. It was kind of like an epiphany that small businesses who can take advantage of the framework that we've developed, of brand positioning framework that we've developed, are going to be wildly successful. I'd gotten off the Zoom. The reason I had this epiphany is because this was the 8th small business in a row that I had to turn down because they couldn't afford our services. But I knew that we had the missing ingredient to their marketing. We had the solution that they needed to move the ball forward, to get to the next level, to keep growing. And we couldn't deliver it to them because they couldn't afford to pay us. And I thought that that was wrong. And so I immediately went over to Lissa's office, and I'm like complaining to her, telling her the same story. And she challenged me to come up with a better way. And so over the next 7 months, that's exactly what I did. And in September of 2024, we launched the Brand Lab. And that's what I'm going to take you through today. So there's some symptoms that we have to talk about. And these are all the silent killers of great businesses. So maybe some of these things sound familiar. You know your worth, but the market doesn't recognize your expertise. Or maybe you have some weak marketing out there that's failing to convert. Maybe unqualified leads are showing up day in and day out on your calendar. You're underselling your value. You're competing on price, and you're settling for rates far beneath your worth because you'd rather have some clients coming in versus no clients at all. And this all leads up to you experiencing some level of burnout, of trying to do more instead of saying it better, and charging accordingly. That all leads us to the big problem. So if those were the symptoms, this is the disease. This is the big problem that we're all faced with. I'm a small business owner. I'm faced with this problem, but it's not just isolated to small businesses. This is everybody. Everybody who is in business has this crowded market problem. It's so crowded. So many businesses have been started over the last 5 years. So many people have come in because it's so easy to start a business. All you need is an internet connection and a phone, and you're there. You're in business and you're adding to the noise. And there's so much noise out in the marketplace right now that the consumer, the people that are buying your products or your services, are more confused now than ever before. Now you take that crowded market problem, this big problem, and you couple it with the attention deficit economy that we're living in. And what I mean by that is, at the time when I was designing this presentation, I had 37 browser tabs open. I counted them. It's a sickness. I know. It's okay. I'm over it. 53 podcasts that I listen to. There's 23 streaming services. There are 10 social media channels. I had 14,892 unread emails. That is not a flex. That's the reality of the situation. I don't have control over the email that comes out. I know it's a me problem, not a you problem, but that's the reality of the situation, and I don't think I'm alone here. I also had 1,261 unread text messages, and then there's the YouTube subscriptions. And to make matters worse, every single one of us is traveling around with one supercomputer in our pocket that is notifying us with every single update to all of these things. And it's just diverting our attention away from all of the things that matter. Now that, coupled with the very crowded market, the confusion in the marketplace, if we don't find a way to stand out, if we as small business owners don't find a way to become different, to articulate our message clearly to a specific group of people that will get the most out of our products and services, if we don't figure this out, we're going to fizzle out. We're either going to stand out or we're going to die. This is so important because it's only going to get worse. So how do you do it? Well, the old way, you would hire a big agency and pay big bucks and get assigned like a junior team that didn't really care. Or you could try and DIY it through Canva. You get a Canva template. Or you hire a freelance designer. You go to Fiverr, you hire a freelance designer, maybe a copywriter, and hope that they magically help you stand out. But they're not working from a strategy. They're not working from the brand position. But there is a new way. And the new way is to develop that unique brand position first. It's to develop your strategy so that you can use it as the inputs that you need to get the outputs that are going to make you stand out in the marketplace and get noticed by the people that matter. And when you get this right, you're going to experience 10 to 20% increase in revenue year over year. Your cost to acquire customers is going to go down. Your customer loyalty and lifetime value of those customers is going to start to trend up. And you're finally going to have the ability to charge the premium rates that you deserve, the premium rates that are worth the expertise that you have. Now, before I get into the rest of this, there's a few myths that I need to bust. Because some of you might be thinking this, and that's okay. But you might be thinking that, hey, branding is just for big companies. Like, why are you talking to me about branding right now? But I got to tell you, look, if you're small, branding is not just your biggest asset. Clarity is your unfair advantage. Branding becomes your unfair advantage. Myth number 2, branding is super expensive. Well, it used to be. It's true. Branding was very expensive. We charge for us to go in and do all of this work for our customers. We charge a lot of money. It keeps us in business. But it's very important work. So, it's worth every penny that we spend, but it's not available to small businesses because they can't afford it. Well, up until now, but we've built this system, the Brand Lab method, that delivers the same enterprise grade clarity without the 5 and 6 figure agency price tag. And the third one here is branding solely equals visuals. It's like your typography or your color system or your logos. And though those things play an important role in brand, I have to tell you that, and here's the biggest secret, this is what people get wrong all the time. Brand design without strategy, without your position, is wildly expensive decoration. It might look good, but it's not sending the right messages to the right people. But your brand is the foundation. And I want you to think about it as a foundation that you're going to build a house on. But it's the foundation that you need to build your empire, whatever that looks like. The brand is the foundation. It's the elements that you need. So to paint a different picture here, let's take a look at a couple areas within your business that your brand or people experience your brand. One might be the buyer's journey. So on this side, call it like customer acquisition activities. On this side, you have people that are aware of you, aware of the things that you can solve. And then they finally, they kind of go through the funnel and end up, here at the point of sale. At the point of sale, they either choose to go with you as the solution or not. If they're hearing the same things that they heard in the buyer journey, then they're more likely to go with you because you're building trust all along the way. On the other hand, you have the customer journey. So when they go from a buyer to the sales conversation and transition into the customer, this is all of the experiences that they have with their brand. And there needs to be a through line from the buyer journey to the sale to the customer journey. And this is where we're going to create very loyal customers. Call this like customer retention type activities. How do you react when there's a problem? What does your customer service look like? What types of conversations are being had there? What type of new products are you offering to customers within your world? Your brand is the through line. So this is the main thing that I need you to remember before we get into the Brand Lab method. The brand that we build, the foundation that we build, is the through line to create consistent brand experiences over a long period of time in the buyer journey, in the sales conversation, in the customer journey. And if we get that right, we're creating massive amounts of trust within our ideal client. Okay, what if I were to tell you that you are only 9 steps away from creating the foundation that you need to build that trust with your customers or potential customers? What if I were to tell you that you are 9 steps away from going this place where you're blending in with the competition right now to standing out, to having a unique competitive advantage? Well, that's the Brand Lab. That's the methodology that we packaged up. And it is not theory. This is proven. This is 20 years of Lissa and I working on some of the largest companies in the world, all the way down to the local nonprofit and everywhere in between. And we know that the framework I'm about to share with you is going to work for you too. The only difference is it is now accessible. So here's what you need to do. The 9 steps, 3 phases, 3 steps per phase. And there's different transformations that you're going to take along the journey. The first one is the discover. We have to figure out a few things within your business in 3 key areas, which I'll get to in a minute. Then we get into development. This is where we develop your unique brand position. And then finally, we're able to declare it out in the world. We have all of those tools. So number one, discovery. This is where we go from being unclear on certain things to have an absolute clarity. Develop. You go from same to being different. And then declare, we go from being disengaged to engaged. We have disengaged employees, disengaged customers, and now they're engaged, they're energized, they want to work with us. So let's go through each step individual. Okay, you ready? You with me? First thing that we're going to do is analyze the competition. This is so important. We start here every single time because we need to have an understanding of what your competitors are doing, are saying, are looking like. How are they being perceived by your customers? How might your customers see them as a viable option for the problems that they're facing, as a solution that they're looking for? So we analyze the competition and we look at the strengths, their weaknesses, but we also look at the gaps that they're leaving in the marketplace. Now, I'll get back to that in a minute. The next thing that we're going to do is uncover your unique strengths. We're going to go through a SWOT analysis. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, if you're not familiar. But we're going to focus on those strengths and opportunities. And now, once we have that, we can look at the gaps that are being left by your competitors and then use that to our advantage. And the next thing that we're going to do is really analyze and describe who your ideal client profile is, your IC. This is one of the most important steps of the whole process. If we don't know who we're talking to, if we're not connecting to this group of people on a deep and emotional level, then we're doing it wrong. And so we have to understand certain things, but mainly it comes down to what are the wants, needs, aspirations of these folks? What are their main fears, frustrations, and pain points that we can uniquely solve? Okay, once we get clear on those three areas, we can move on to develop. Again, we're going from being same, swimming in that sea of sameness, to having clear differences, to standing out from everybody else in that very crowded market. So the first thing that we're going to do is define our differences. Remember when I said back in the first step where we identified the gaps left by the competitors in the marketplace and we're comparing that against your strengths and we want to use that to our advantage? This is where we do it. That becomes the basis of your key differentiators. These are the things that you do that are unique to you, that only you do, and that your ideal client profile needs and is looking for. You see what we're doing here? It's really powerful. The next thing that we're going to do is establish the brand's personality. Put another way, like this is where we humanize the brand. People connect with people. And if we can create a personality that appeals to our ICP or feels familiar to our ICP, then we are going to be able to connect with them on a very emotional level, in a way that's going to get them to trust us a little bit faster than the competition out there. And then finally, we're going to position the brand. We're going to take a look at the whole industry bubble, the competition, recognize the gaps, identify the white space, and position you in the white space where it makes sense, where you are off on an island all by yourself, and nobody else can compete with you there. Okay, once we become different, now we have to put that message out into the world. We know who we're talking to. So we can get the tools in place to properly declare our new brand. We're going to sing it from the mountaintops. But this is where we have disengagement with our employees, with our potential customers, with our current customers, and we get them engaged, we get them fired up, and they're excited about working with us and working for us. The first thing that we're going to do here is outline your golden circle. If you're familiar with Simon Sinek, and start with why. That is exactly what this is. We have codified it, and we are helping you identify your why statement. Put a different way, this is where you identify your purpose. You put it down into one sentence. Now, I said before that people connect with people, and that is so true. But people connect stronger with people with purpose. And so that's why it's so important to outline, define, and be able to articulate your purpose in a way that resonates with your ICP. The next thing that we're going to do once we outline your golden circle is we're going to take everything that we've done and we're going to compile it into a very compelling story. Your story, your brand story. This is uniquely yours. So people connect with people. People connect stronger with people with purpose. People find out about people with purpose through their unique story. And then stories can be passed down. It becomes the basis of all of your marketing. It becomes the basis of your messaging, of your emails, of your advertising. And, we weave that stuff, your story into all of that stuff all along the way. And then finally, we have to document the whole brand position. Because if we don't have a central document, if we don't have a central place where we're keeping all of this stuff, then we're never going to be able to train people on it. Or we're never going to be able to revisit the brand year over year to make sure that it still holds true to what we built. And things are going to change. Market conditions are going to change. The wants and needs of our ICP are going to change. And we're going to have to have the baseline, which we're developing here. We're going to have to be able to revisit that year over year on an annual basis to see if everything still holds true. And we can't do that if we haven't properly documented the brand. But, really that document becomes all of the inputs that you need to create all of the marketing materials, all of the customer service materials and direction. It helps you create an appeal to, maybe you're trying to hire employees and you want to do so, or you should be doing so in a very branded way. So you're attracting the right employees into your world. So it becomes that through line in all areas of your business. And when we get this right, and when we do this through, and we follow this step by step, we go from blending in with that sea of sameness, all of that competition out there, to having that unique competitive advantage. We go from blending in to standing out. That's what's going to allow you to get that 10 to 20% higher revenue. It's going to lower your cost to acquire customers. It's going to increase the lifetime value of your current customers or the customers that come in your door. And more importantly, it's going to give you the ability that you need to charge the rates that you're worth. You're going to get that premium pricing that you deserve. Now, I said hang out to the end of this video, and I'm going to show you something really special. And this is it. That document, the brand position, also allows you to leverage AI in a very brand responsible way. It allows you to leverage AI so that everything that your AI assistants do for you, whatever it is going to be on brand. It's going to be different, and it's going to allow you to stand out in the market. So let me paint a picture for you. What if I were to tell you that right now, as a small business, you could build a world-class marketing department? What would it do for your business to have the marketing function running as a well-oiled machine, just as like the Nikes of the world do? What if we could unlock the same tools that those large corporations use, but now you can utilize it to your advantage? What would that do for your business? Well, I'll tell you, it's possible now because it's so easy to create custom GPTs, and you can create all of the functions that you need to form a world-class marketing department, and your brand position becomes the inputs that each one of those custom GPTs need in order to produce the materials that you want in a way that's going to get you to stand out. It's not going to add to the noise. It's going to get you to stand out from the competition, from the noise. It's going to speak directly to your ideal client profile. How powerful would that be for your business? So look, I just want to share a couple of stories here with you. Drew went through our program, and before she was even done, before she got into it, she thought that branding was just a website and some Instagram posts and some colors and stuff, which was a myth that we busted early on. But the incredible thing is, before she was even finished with the program, she had the confidence that she needed to go out there and demand premium pricing. She finally was confident enough to articulate her value in a way that got her the pricing that she was worth. And then the next story I want to share with you is my buddy Joe Smith. Joe is one of my favorite stories. He quit his marketing job to start a cooperage. A cooperage is a place that makes barrels. He was making barrels for the bourbon industry. And when he came to us, he didn't know what to do. He's like, look, I've got one barrel in one place. I can't seem to sell another one because I can't get the prices of my barrels down. I can't compete in the marketplace with the competition. So we went through the process and we analyzed the competition. Well, as it turns out, there was 3 main factories that were producing 80 to 85% of the barrels within the bourbon industry. We looked at his strengths. He's small. He understands barrel science. He knows how to manipulate the barrel and the manufacturing process to get the flavor profiles that his customers wanted. He became the ingredient, the main ingredient. That, coupled with the knowledge of 85% of a bourbon's flavoring comes from the aging process and the barrel in which it sits. And so you can see the dots that we're connecting there. And that became his story. So the other thing that we did is we looked at his ICP. Who are the buyers? Well, as it turns out, micro distillers are the ones that are producing bourbons that need to win awards. That's one of their marketing channels. If they're winning awards, they're getting noticed. Joe could come in and say, I can partner with you to make a bourbon that will win awards. I can guarantee it. And that became his message. And so he did. And his barrel became more valuable than those that were coming out of the factory because he could guarantee that he was going to help these micro distillers win awards, which in turn is going to help them sell more bourbon. It's going to move bourbon off shelves, not just their high-end award-winning product, but even the lower stuff. Even though the lower quality stuff wasn't coming out of his barrel, they were creating a name for themselves because of his barrel. So we upped the value that he brought to the table and gave him the ability to charge double what the factories were. And he's still in business and wildly successful, and it's amazing. And I love seeing the growth. But I just know that like the brand position that you put together, following this methodology, is going to help you grow your business in a way that you didn't think was possible before. And so look, if you're interested in talking to me more about this, a link right below this video, I've included my calendar. So go on there and choose a time slot that works well for you. We're going to spend 30 to 45 minutes together, and I just want to have a conversation with, where are you at on your brand? What are your goals over the next, 90 to 120 days? Like, what are you looking to achieve? What are you looking to achieve in the next 12 months? What are those things that are standing in your way from achieving those goals? I want to talk about all those things. And at the end of that conversation, if I feel like the Brand Lab is the solution for you, I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like. And if for whatever reason, I don't think it's the right fit, I'm going to do whatever I can to point you in the right direction. So anyway, book a call. I look forward to seeing you there.